Do you know the legend of Las Arañas?
I do not. Please fill me in.
Word tells of people who walked amongst the trees with superpowers, incredible abilities, who can appear and disappear without notice. Spider people.
Oh, I think I might know where you're going with this, but please continue.
Yes, yes. The rumors, they speak of a sacred forest in Peru, as well as a legendary spider. And boy, Kevin, I gotta tell you, the peptides in this fucking spider, the peptides alone, they're gonna change the world. This shit's, you're not gonna believe this shit. So, look, I know, we do the show. I know the show costs a lot of money. I think we should sell the show and fund a trip to the forests of Peru, the jungles of Peru, I should say, to find the spider and its valuable peptides.
I'm all in favor of this pivot. As long as we keep shooting somehow. I'll bring, you've got the gimbal, I've got a camera. Yeah. Let's just keep filming this, but let's go to Peru.
Okay. You haven't remarked once on the significance of the peptides here. I mean, I feel like I'm talking to a fucking wall. Do you not understand? These fucking peptides, you're gonna jizz your pants. If you get these peptides, you're gonna go nuts. You're gonna become the Hulk. Your dick's gonna become the Hulk. Forget.
Tell me more about the peptides.
I don't know. Like I don't know what a peptide is. I don't know what that is. America. Okay, what's up? How's it going, everybody? What's up, Kevin? How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I got a little tickle in my throat, so I found a little weird today, I feel like, but I'm doing good.
Yeah.
I'm really curious to know where the peptides were going, but that's okay. We can come back to that.
They're just really valuable. Like they're kind of unmatched anywhere on the planet. But yeah, no, I gotta get that fucking Spider-Man. Well, not Spider-Man. Man. Yeah. Anyway, okay. So it's good. Everything's good. I didn't mean it like that. I meant it's just, I talked about this last week. Do you remember, Kevin? The post intro slump. This is what that is. It's the post intro slump. Here it is. We need some sort of jingle or something to play, for the post intro slump.
I might have one here. Hold on, let's see. Let's see if this one fits.
Oh shit. I thought Kevin was talking to a small creature.
I hope this message finds you well.
Oh, that's the email one. I'm sorry, but still, that works.
No, that's specifically okay. All right, what's our first email? Our first email is from David Canton, who writes, "Hey guys, love the podcast. Spencer, you're right that all condenser microphones compress sound and bring up the background noise. It's going to be a factor. Shure released a microphone that's dynamic, but has a preamp and AD conversion, so you don't need an interface, and has a USB out as well as an XLR out. It's called the Shure MV7. I've heard of this before, and so he recommends it. Yeah, I've seen this one. This one's like the good one that people recommend. Yeah, I should have read this email earlier. Now that we're in the post-Christmas season, I'm like, I can't spend money ever again in my life. So I don't know if I need a new microphone. But man, if I'm ever feeling bad, you ever do retail therapy, Kevin? Or just normal? You just do normal therapy?
Sometimes, I don't know. I don't seem to get the same joy out of it that a lot of people do. I don't feel like, I'm going to go spend some money and that's going to make me feel better, because it never does.
Kevin, you absolute idiot. It's not about feeling better. It's about thinking it will make you feel better. That's the important thing.
Okay.
Of course, it doesn't make you feel better. We're all empty inside. We're dead. We live in hell. Anyway, no, this looks great. I kind of want to get this. Maybe I will. Okay. So this month, next month, maybe I'll spin up a justification to spend the money on this. Maybe I can sell something. That could be good. Kevin, you want to buy a toolbox?
Okay. Yes, I would love one.
It's funny because I'm looking at stuff that's not super valuable, but definitely is, you could sell it. Anyway, okay. So the post-intro slump is officially abolished using your musical technologies. Okay, so what do we got here in my notes? Because what it's time for is to read my notes. This says poop emergency. We covered it. Spider powers Aranyas. We covered it. The Nazis are at it again. I don't know. Oh, that trans kid got murdered. That's Nazi related, I guess. I don't know. Too many Nazis these days. Also, like, Israel is committing a genocide, so that's weird. That's like Nazi shit, but it's it's Israel, so that's not good. But I don't know. Man, I was just thinking about that. Ugh, I can't remember why. Oh, because fucking who was it? Someone was going there. Was that J.K. Rowling? Yeah, J.K. Rowling was like going to Israel to see for herself what was going on or some shit. Did you read about that?
No, I didn't, but that seems plausible.
Yeah, it's just like they're saying that Elon Musk is a different guy than that other guy. Did you hear?
Well, I heard the interview of the two of them like talking to each other, and I swear to you, I couldn't tell which is which. Like
yeah,
one was
but
just
people
like
were being like, they're definitely different people. I don't know.
I don't know. I could believe anything, but I honestly could not tell you which one was Elon Musk and which one was the other guy, Adrian, whatever. Like, I could tell they sounded different, but I couldn't, like, if you made me, like, swear in court that those were not both Elon Musk recorded separately through a filter or something, I couldn't say for sure.
Yeah. I'll tell you what I don't care about. The truth. I'll tell you what I care about. I talked about it for about 5 minutes on the podcast that last week. That's what counts. That's what's real, baby. Content. That's right, motherfuckers. Yeah. Shit with Satan. Remember when we said shit with Satan on the podcast? I actually think I wrote this note down so that I would say shit with Satan like at the end of the podcast. But I would have wrote this note down like a year ago or some shit. I don't know. Shit. What about Pal World? You know about this? Did you ever see the Pal World videos? Everyone was talking about Pal World. Pal World.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't played it, but I've looked at it, and it seems to be heavily inspired by Pokemon.
Yeah, it's very Minecrafty in a way that seems extremely my shit. Like you can make the Pokemon like work in factories for you with like conveyor belts that like move their stuff that they're working on, So and then you can like build the factory. So you can I don't know, which is kind of stuff I like doing in Minecraft. So it seemed kind of interesting, but I don't know. It also didn't seem there I don't know. I'm on TikTok all the time. I don't know how you consume the internet these days, but for me, it's mostly TikTok. And I didn't really watch very much YouTube before, so it's kind of new for me to consume video stuff regularly, like this churn of video slop. But as part of the churn of video slop, you see like streamers and streamer clips, and so you get, these gimmicky games that pop up and get really big on streamer, pages, and then they make clips, and the clips get really popular, and then the games get really popular on TikTok's algorithm and stuff, and you see a bunch of this stuff. And that was happening a lot with Pal World. And sometimes that happens, and you're like, I don't want to play this game. It seems too popular, And Pal World, it was really popular. It sold really well. But I wanted to talk about the IP. Because they're stealing the Pokemon, and isn't that interesting that it's an IP?
It is. It makes me curious of what the reaction from like Nintendo or Game Freaks or whoever is going to be because of this, because it just seems I was never a big Pokemon player, but even me just looking at this videos of Pal World, I just like, yeah, this is just a total ripoff of Pokemon. Like it could not be more obvious.
Ah, yes. Oh God, my phone, it dropped it. And it not only did I drop it, but it sounded like some sort of unholy demon sound to me. And it was very scary and frightening. The sound, not the phone dropping. I was watching the phone dropping and looking at it, and then I was like, I'm listening to a demon right now. Anyway, so you wouldn't necessarily think this has anything to do with it, but ages ago on the podcast, because we're such a, we're kind of like America's podcast, even though, we're for international listeners as well. But we've talked about in the past how Wizards of the Coast did that open game. They changed their gaming license, and everybody got super pissed, and there was this big backlash that happened. And they're like, "Oh, you can't make third-party content." And then they're like, "Oh, okay, you can make third-party." Do you remember that?
I do, and it kind of just sort of fizzled out kind of towards the end.
Yeah. Well, they kind of backtracked a lot of it. I think they backtracked most of it, and the people who were still mad were like, "This isn't good enough." And other people were like, I got to go to work. And then they were like, whatever. And then, but they did. My understanding is they did backtrack like most of the worst stuff. But anyway, the thing is, a big crux of that whole situation was that legally speaking, you can't really patent game mechanics per se. There's copyrightable aspects of them that are usually aesthetic, I think, but there's pretty strong limits to that as well. So, like for instance, drawing a card, you can't patent the idea or copyright or whatever the idea of drawing a card, because then other card games wouldn't be able to draw a card. So mechanically, taking a game and being like, it's Pokemon, is almost completely legal. As long as your Pokemon look rejecty enough, like as long as it doesn't look like Pokemon wear like a Pikachu wearing like a hat or something, if it looks like a green bulbous Pikachu with an elephant nose or something, you're like, nah, that's legal now. So the mechanics are fine, but also mechanically, like I said, it is more Minecrafty by a pretty big margin. It just has these monsters, and you interact with the monsters in ways that are Pokemon-esque. But Pokemon is like an RPG, and it's not very RPG-ish. But whatever, I don't know. The important thing is IP. It's an IP. Where's my notes? I didn't take any new notes. I thought I took some notes. I don't know where I wrote them. Did I write them somewhere else? Oh, I went to the doctor. I had a follow-up appointment for some hip pain that I was having. And I was kind of excited because I've been losing weight. I wasn't kind of excited, but there was, something that was maybe nice. And here's the problem, Kevin. Don't think that something maybe nice could happen, because that's your first mistake.
Okay.
But so I was like, well, I've been losing weight, so maybe the doctor will be like, oh wow, you lost a lot of weight. That's great. This is so great. And so then I went to the doctor, and she was like, so how are you doing? And I was like, oh, my hip's fine, but I've got these other problems now. And she's like, well, make another appointment. come see me for those. Let's just follow up for the thing. And I was like, oh, okay. And she was like, all right, then you're good. And then she sent me on my way. Didn't fucking nothing. It's a completely waste of time. I'm still on this like cheap health plan or whatever, so I don't think it cost me any money, which is nice, but it was a waste of time. And so then they're like, okay, now wait in that waiting room, and the nurse will come out and say something or something. And I'm like, what the fuck am I waiting for? Like, they're not giving me anything. I'm not paying. I shouldn't have come in the first place. Like, this sucks. This whole thing sucked. No one said that I lost weight and am a great person. You know, this sucked. And then the doctor calls my name and she says, "Hey, Spencer," and I was like, "Yeah," and she's like, Can I see you again?" And I come back in and she's like, "Looks like you lost a lot of weight. Is that on purpose?" And I was like, "Yeah," and she's like, "Oh yeah, because if it wasn't, that'd be really bad." And I was like, "No, it was on purpose. I was trying," and she was like, "Okay, get out of here." And I was like, "All right, okay, great." So you know, like I said, don't expect a nice thing might happen. Is the moral of that story.
Alrighty, so I'm a little confused. Were you trying to, or were you not trying to?
I was trying to. I've been trying to lose weight really hard.
Okay, all right.
I got an Apple Watch specifically because I wanted to like lose weight. That was the whole. I was like, I need a fucking Apple Watch if I really want to lose weight. And it's been helping. I mean, I don't know. Can you see your streak? How do you see it? I have like a streak of like 110 days or something of filling all my rings. Like I've been doing it. I've been hiking basically every day. I just went on like a 7 mile hike today. It was great.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah. So I'm doing it. Kevin, you got me a gimbal. I'm trying to figure out if I can make like hiking videos. I don't even know what that looks like. I don't know what people want out of that, or if they do, or who cares. I don't know. But so I got to figure out like how to use it. But it's so cool. I mean, the gimbal, it just works really well. I don't know. It's smooth and it's interesting. It made me be like, oh, I want to film stuff. Maybe I'm a cameraman, it's just like whatever. But, I can't be a cameraman because my true passion is being a 3D animator. I've been telling Kevin that I want to learn Blender. Not enough.
It would be very useful to me personally if I knew somebody who knew how to use Blender.
Right? Okay, I think that almost seals it almost. Like maybe.
Okay, you'd be the guy I'd come to and go, "Hey, can you make this for me?"
Oh my god. Okay, someone teach me how to use Blender, and don't tell Kevin that you could be Kevin's Blender guy. Yeah, those are the two conditions, I think. Yeah. Okay. So. Oh, have we talked about? I was trying to think of like TikTok stuff, but we've talked about Riz, right, on the podcast?
We have, yeah, and Baby Drunk and all, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh man, we talked about it all the way back with Baby Gronk. I can't remember. I can't believe Riz was even back then. I just wanted to say that if you didn't know what Riz actually means, it's what do you call it? It's an abbreviation for rat jizz. So.
I feel like you might be wrong there.
No, it is. It's rat jizz. So if you hear like, oh man, that guy's got Riz, it's like, oh man, he's got rat jizz, dude. It's like that guy is virile, like he has the seed of a rat brewing within his loins. So that's just, that's what our segment is we like to try and explain TikTok trends to the layperson. So, that's what we do. But man, I saw Madam Web. Oh my God. It's way too early in the podcast to pull this ripcord. Do you remember when I had that idea for a movie idea for Contagious Lightning?
Oh,
we talked about it on the podcast.
That's a long time ago, but yeah.
Yeah, it's a long time ago. The thing is, I pulled the clips for those clip shows, and I haven't gotten to that clip yet. I don't think, at least, because I don't remember pulling it as a clip, but I want to pull that as a clip one of these days when I get there. But man, that's a great I don't know. It's really funny, just the idea of someone getting hit by lightning and then hiding it from someone else. Be like, we're all gonna get hit by fucking lightning, dude. Like, no, I didn't get hit. Like your hair's standing straight like that. That yeah, your hair's standing straight up. It's like, nah, man. Nah, I'm fine. I didn't get bit. I mean, by the lightning. Because zombies. Anyway, okay. So a lot of people are saying that Madam Web is a really bad movie. And those people are miserable pieces of shit. Look, you can't talk about this movie without talking about Morbius. I mean, they even start with M. They're written by the same guys. They're fucking ancillary Spider-Man Sony, right? Sony content.
So, yeah.
Unless it's Fox. I think it's Sony. Ancillary Sony Spider-Man characters that I don't know, like Morbius does pop up a fair amount. I mean, he doesn't though, but he pops up a little bit. But Madam Web is like the bedrock of Spider-Man lore. Like, it's hard to imagine, like, you know, it's hard to imagine, like, it's like a Batman and Robin situation to imagine, like, Spider-Man existing without Madam Web, you know? Like, first of all, she can see the future using the power of, I think it's called the weave, unless it's called the web, which, man, isn't that weird? For a like a psychic phenomenon called the web that you could look at to learn about what's happening across the world. Like, isn't that interesting?
That's some foreshadowing, yeah.
Yeah, but and she's I think more connected into the spider totem aspect of Spider-Man lore, which is the idea that there's like this giant spider god that invests spider totem powers into like a kind of champion or something. And Spider-Man exists as like one of these champions outside of the rest of his deal, you know, getting bit by a spider, being a genius, etc. So it kind of leans in more towards that, which I think is more kind of like weird esoteric Mesoamerican ritualism, you know, or whatever. I don't know. I think. But so like I was just talking to someone else, but like you would do a Kraven the Hunter movie before you would do a Madam Web movie, which is not saying like fucking anything. Like you wouldn't do a Kraven the Hunter movie. You know, so it's like, how did they even fucking make? I mean, it just must be like because she's a woman, but even then, it's like Spider Woman would kick ass or something. Like, you know, like why Madam Web? She's a character who is a seer. You know, like by nature, those characters aren't the main character. They're usually a character who interacts with the main character. They're usually solidly third. You know, kind of ancillary characters, third party kind of, you know, usually on the side of the good guy or unaffiliated. But yeah, they're not the main character because their power isn't they can beat up a bad guy. You know, their power isn't that they fight crime necessarily. Although I think Madam Web in the comic books, she kind of fights crime. I don't know. Yeah.
So I mean,
a bunch of, yeah.
If I'm completely unfamiliar with Spider-Man lore, can you like 30-second sum up like what her storyline is in relation to Spider-Man?
She's a psychic who could tell the future. And at some point, there was an uncrackable case, and she had a clue on the case. And so Spider-Man's like, oh, I gotta go find this lady who knows the psychic clue. And then it's Madam Web, and she's like, I'm a spider psychic lady, and I'm Madam Web, and I know the truth. And she's like, oh, that's crazy. And there's a spider lady out there that knows the future. And that's kind of most of her deal. Like, sometimes she's more or less involved, but like, yeah, she's just like a person in the world. She's kind of like a tavern owner or something, you know? She's like a quest NPC who's just like, hey, Spider-Man, come over here for this issue. And he's like, okay. And then she's like, I got this. Or whatever the fuck. And there's other things, but she's not in a lot of stories. That's what I was really surprised by, honestly. Although Morbius isn't in that many stories either. Craven's in a pretty decent amount.
So is that where the confusion was coming from, where you were kind of like, a quest NPC doesn't really seem like a good candidate to base a movie about? Is that kind of where this may have fallen short, or was there something else about the movie that didn't quite work, or what happened here?
Well, that's the only thing that didn't work about the movie. Like, I think the movie was awesome. It's just, that's so stupid. It's stupid to make a movie about a superhero whose power is to tell the future. And okay, you got to see this movie. So you gotta. I was gonna see it, like, I didn't see it till like the third time. I was gonna see it, and then I was like, well, maybe I'll see it with my friends. And then we were gonna see it with my friends, and I was like, and then we weren't gonna see it with my friends. And then I was like, ugh. And then randomly I was like, I gotta see it. And it was just in the morning. I was like, I'm gonna see the movie in the morning. It's great to watch movies in the morning, but the movie opens on the Peruvian forest where the lady is freaking pregnant and she's looking for the spider of legend because of these fucking peptides, bro. I don't think you understand the peptides. But her bodyguard, Ezekiel, whose name's apparently Ezekiel. I think his name gets mentioned in the very beginning of the movie, and I don't think anyone says his name until like the very end of the movie. And like in the middle of the movie, there's a scene where you see a diary and it says the word Ezekiel in it, and she's like, "Oh shit!" And you're like, "Who the fuck is Ezekiel?" and then later she says Ezekiel, and like that's like one of the first times it's ever been said in the movie, and people are like, "Oh, I get what you're talking about." It's like, no one knows who you're talking about. But so Ezekiel is her bodyguard, and he knows the legend of Las Arañas, which are the secret people that could walk among the trees, dude. And they had the legendary, that part of their rituals was the spider, and it's the same spider, and that's why he was going with her to protect her. But then she finds the spider, and he turns on them, and he's fighting with her over the spider, and she's holding on to the spider, and it's in a jar, and she's holding on so tight. And despite all of his strength of being a man, he can't take the spider from her, so he shoots her, and it's like, you shouldn't have done this.
I still can't tell if you like this movie or not.
I do like it, but this part is bad. This is like a really bad part of the movie. But it's like, there are bad parts of the movie, and it is kind of a bad movie, but it is really good. Like, it is good. It's like genuinely a lot of fun. But this part is crazy. But it's like in the very beginning, she's like talking about spiders or whatever, and then like the cuts in this movie, like the cinematography is really, really bad. But so then the shot cuts out to this very wide shot, and then you look at her, and then she goes, "Ugh!" This really like bad like groan sound, and she like grabs her stomach in pain, and then it's like, oh shit, she's pregnant. But like that shot is just like so poorly done that like I laughed out loud. Like that was the first time that I started laughing in the movie. But so she gets shot, and then the trees start fucking going nuts, dude. The trees start shaking and spasming like a ghosts are around, and Ezekiel's scared, and so he runs away with the spider. And then the fucking Las Arañas show up, dude, and they look kind of like Spider-Man, but they're like naked people who have like red face paint and black kind of spots over their eyes, so they look vaguely a little bit like Spider-Man. And they also have these kind of like twine or like vines, like these very thin like dried vines kind of wrapped around their bodies, which kind of a little bit looks like the webbing of the Spider-Man suit, and they come like swooping through the trees, and they kind of daintily touched ground, and they pick up this shot woman, and they take her to a cave and put her in the water, where she gets bitten with a freaking spider, because that's what they do, is that they bite people with spiders in their culture to gain the superpowers. And she gives birth to a baby. And what the Las Arañas is like, don't worry, when she's ready, I'll tell her everything she needs to know. And it's like, what does she need to know? What do we know? What the fuck's going on? Like, and then you cut to it's an EMT and it's Dakota Johnson and her partner is freaking Adam Scott and he's in the movie and he's a lot of fun in the movie and she's like a miserable asshole and he's awesome and he's like, man, you're a cool guy, but you sure are a miserable asshole. And she's like, I know, it sucks, I suck. And she gets in an accident trying to save someone and it activates her future telling powers. And so now we're treated to sequences where she starts to see the future by having deja vu, right? She witnesses something and then she witnesses it again and a person does the same thing and she's like, what are you talking about? I just told you. And they're like, what are you talking about? You didn't just tell me. And she's like, what? So strange. And that happens a few more times. And she's like, something's going on. And then like the third one or whatever is like, someone tells her to like go over somewhere and she goes there and then a guy drives off and then the guy dies. And she's like, I have to do something. And she tells the guy, you're going to die. Don't go off. And the guy's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I got to go off. Then the guy goes off and he dies, and you're like, oh shit. And she's like, oh shit, I can't, this sucks. I'm seeing the future. Bad things are happening. I can't help it. It sucks. And it's just weird. It's weird. It's jarring as an audience to just keep seeing moments that are repeated. It's a weird idea for a movie that's a superhero movie. It's like maybe you could definitely do this premise, Groundhog's Day or whatever, but it's weird to like force that into a superhero structure, So what happens? So eventually, it turns out that Ezekiel is trying to kill these 3 teenagers because he has a nightmare. He has a nightmare every night where he gets murdered by these 3 teenagers, and they're Sydney Sweeney and the other 2 girls that are in the movie. And in the future, they're superpowered spider ladies, and Sydney Sweeney is Spider Woman, and the other 2 are different spider ladies, and I'm not sure which ones they are, but I recognize Spider Woman and her powers. They kill him every night in his dreams, and he's like, and I'm going to stop them because I know their faces, and you know what it's like to see what your killer's face looks every night. Also, in the movie, the main antagonist, he's ADR'd like throughout the whole movie for some reason. I don't know why. I got to look that up, but his voice sounds kind of weird. I think the ADRs mostly sound functional, but in some of the scenes, it's really bad. But generally, his voice just sounds really fucked up. He's like, I'm just like a weird guy. He sounds more like that than you'd be surprised. But he just sounds really stupid. It's like, why was that the choice the actor made? But so he's going to kill the ladies. Also, throughout the movie, Dakota Johnson has been encountering the ladies. He encounters the first one, and she flips her off when she's driving her ambulance, because she's an ambulance worker. I can't remember if I've said that explicitly, but she works in the ambulance, and she gets flipped off by the one, and then the other one, she was being neglected in the hospital, and the Dakota Johnson kind of didn't really notice her, and I activated my Siri on accident. And then the other girl, she sees the other girl where the landlord is like, give me the rent, and the girl's like, I don't have the rent. And so she's encountered her in the past, and she's like, wait, I know all these, but whatever, I'm getting ahead of myself. Anyway, she ends up seeing all the girls in the subway and has a vision of them all dying, and she's like, holy shit, I know what's happening now. I know that I see the future, and technically I can change it, except that one time I tried and it didn't work because no one listened to me. So now I'm going to make sure they all listen to me, because in my vision, I just saw 3 children get murdered, And so she's like, look, you're going to get murdered on the subway. And they're like, what the fuck are you talking about? And so eventually she convinces them, and the guy shows up, and they're running from the guy, and then they're running from the guy, and she keeps having visions of the guy, and they're like, what are you doing? And she's like, look, I'm psychic. And they throw a rock at her, and she's like, ow. And they're like, doesn't look psychic to me. And she's like, it doesn't work like that. And they're like, how does it work? And she's like, I don't know how it works. I just saw you get murdered. And then she like leaves them in the woods. She's like, I got to go do research. You stay in the woods. And she leaves them in the woods and goes to her apartment. And she reads her mom's journal about how her mom was in the, whatever, going to the thing, and she's looking for the spider and whatever. And so Dakota Johnson is like talking to her cat. She also has this other scene earlier on where she's like feeding her cat. She feeds this stray cat a bowl of milk and is like, us strays got to stick together, And so she's explaining to her cat, he's like, wow, these Las Arañas had the power to walk among the trees. And she's talking to her cat, and it's awesome. No, but that's another part. These are another part of the movie that actually is bad. Because again, like, the whole movie is they're running from this guy because the guy has fucking Spider-Man powers and they don't. And so they can't do fucking anything. And so she gets a vision that they're about to get murdered because she left him in the woods because they wandered to a diner and are going to hang out at a diner. At this point, the world thinks that she's kidnapped the girls because one of the girls thinks that they're being kidnapped because they technically are being kidnapped, but they're just being kidnapped because they're going to be murdered, But so she says, we're being kidnapped, and so now the cops are like on their tail, and then the bad guy killed a bunch of cops, and so now they think that the Dakota Johnson killed a bunch of cops and stole the girls. So now they're on the lam, and so someone reported the lost girls at the diner to the police, and and another part of the movie is the bad guy, because he knows their face. He's hired this hacker woman and stolen NSA access by murdering an NSA lady using his spider powers of Venom touch. And and so he grabs her, and he grabs her with his spider venom power, and her first line is like, her reaction to being grabbed is, how are you poisoning me? Another bad part of the movie. But so he grabs her and poisons her with his touch, and she can feel it, but like she can within seconds can clock, oh man, I feel terrible. Oh shit, I'm being poisoned. Oh fuck, he's poisoning me right now in this instant somehow. But how? I better ask, how are you poisoning me? But that kind of establishes verbally that he has this poison power. And so he gets the NSA. And so he hires the girl to like look at all the security cameras to find these girls, because all they can go off of his faces, and they use like AI to generate the face from his dreams to find these girls to murder them. Because like he talks about this a lot. He's like, look, you don't understand. I got to murder these teenagers because I have a dream every night about them killing me at some point. So you gotta understand, I just gotta kill these kids. Anyway, so she has a vision that he's gonna kill the kids at the diner. And what we keep seeing is, it's kind of interesting, although it's not done very well, but sometimes it's kind of interesting. When it's done well, it's pretty interesting. Where we see something horrible happen because that's her vision of the future. And so she reacts to change the future. And so then we see something that changes drastically from what we've just seen in a surprising, interesting way. So it does subvert your expectations, even though you know it's going to, and it ends up being interesting. So anyway, it sets up that like it looks like he's going to kill the girls, and he shows up just like he does in the vision. But then Dakota Johnson gets there in time because she saw the future, and she smashes through. She stole a taxi, by the way. She smashes through the front of the diner in a stolen taxi, just hits him with her car, and he goes flying like into a wall. And she jumps out of the car and is like, "Come on, we gotta go!" And they get in the car and she drives away. Anyway, okay, this movie's great. It's so good. You gotta see it, even though I'm spoiling the whole movie. So it gets to a point where she has to go to Peru because that's what the journal's talking about, right? It's Peru. The answers to the secrets are in Peru. So she gives the kids to Adam Scott to lay low in a motel away from the NSA, because their cell phones, cameras, anything can find them. And they also set up earlier that Adam Scott's wife is pregnant. So she goes to Peru, and the fucking Las Arañas are there, and they take her to the cave, and she's like, holy shit, what the fuck's going on? And the Las Arañas does the thing from fucking Doctor Strange where he punches like Benedict Cumberbatch's soul out of his body or whatever. But the Lost Irania does that to Dakota Johnson and knocks her into the water where she was given birth to in the cave. And in the water, we see a scene that looks visually like the scene where she gets in the accident in the beginning of the movie and gains her powers in the water. And she has this flashback to seeing like her mom die. And it turns out that like her mom was pregnant with her and she had lethal disease that was going to kill the fetus. And that's why the mom was like, no, my fetus can't die. It turns out that this spider in Peru has this peptide that can cure the disease. So I got to get the spider so that the kid doesn't die. And that's why she's fucking doing the beginning of the movie. And Dakota Johnson realizes this and starts crying and stuff. And then she gains the totality of her powers because she learns the truth. And, and so it turns out that she was going to be like, paraplegic, quadriplegic her whole life because of the disease. But because the spider bit her mom when she was about to give birth, she got the spider powers that gave her the future telling powers, but it didn't give her the superpower of strength. It just, I guess, prevented her from being paralyzed or whatever, and that's what they reveal. And then they're like, she's like, why didn't I? And he's like, some people don't get the power of superpowers or the power of hand poison or whatever, but some people can look at the web or whatever and see the future and see what's happening everywhere. And then he says something, this is what I wanted to look this up, but he says something that's such an awkward line. But he says, like, basically a comp of Morpheus's line of, you're saying I can dodge bullets. I'm saying you won't need to, kind of thing. He's like, eventually you'll be able to be in more than one place at once. The ultimate epic superpower evolution. It's also unclear what that means, other than the fact that she's in Peru, and you understand that across the world, the kids are being targeted by a terrorist. And it's not like she could fly back. So it's like, oh shit, is she gonna teleport and be in more than one? Anyway, no, she just flies back. But then, so Adam Scott's wife's water breaks, and then they got to go to the hospital. So now the girls got to go with them for some reason, because even though the girls will be seen by the NSA and get targeted by the murderer, they have to go help with the pregnancy at the hospital. Like, they're 3 teen girls. They can't just not go. Like, what if someone needs, they can't just not go, but it's like, yeah, no, maybe just leave the kids in the hotel room and you guys can get seen by NSA because no one cares what you guys look like and they won't get seen, but no. And so then Dakota Johnson has a vision of the bad guy producing a sci-fi grenade that's never before been seen in the series. He just has this weird sci-fi grenade and exploding everybody, even the pregnant woman in their car with the secret sci-fi grenade. And so again, so we see the thing, and then we see how it starts to happen again, and she's racing against the clock. And it's very much like, this is almost very much like the last sequence that I described with the taxi, except this time she's stolen a freaking ambulance because she's an ambulance driver. That's her job. And so as the bad guy he's in position, he's about to throw the grenade, fucking Dakota Johnson in the ambulance just explodes out of a random wall of a 4th floor of just a building in the background, and she hits the guy mid-air with her ambulance in mid-air, and he goes flying again, and she just smashes into him with her car because her superpower is to hit people with her car. And it's fucking awesome. Like, honestly, I was like, this movie kicks fucking ass. Like, because again, I didn't know that we were going to see that, but just seeing like a ambulance explode out of a random building, being like, why was that ambulance up that high in that building? Like, how does any of this work? But then she hits him in midair with the fucking, and it's like, this movie kicks ass. Anyway, and so because again, he has Spider-Man powers and they don't. All they have is the power to hit people with motor vehicles. That's all they can do. And boy, do they. But so she ends up having a vision. The other thing is, like, she has a vision of something happening and can immediately piece together exactly how to do that without any of, the constituent pieces, which is something that happens because she has this vision of a building that she remembers as a death trap because it's full of explosives. And they just leave it full of explosives, even though the fire department knows it's full of explosives. And it was a problem for them earlier in the movie. But they're like, we lure them to the explosives. We set the explosives off. Since we can see the future, we get out of there safely before the explosives go off. So it's not dangerous to set off a bunch of explosives in a building full of explosives. But he will and will win. And so they do that. And everything starts exploding. And they really don't get out because they don't, they don't go fast enough. So he shows up, and so everything's exploding, and it's like, and it turns out the explosives are fireworks. I think they call them explosives throughout most of the movie, but then they're just fireworks. They're not like explosives. So a bunch of fireworks are going off anywhere, and now, okay, I need to bring up in Pokemon. I want to say in Gold and Silver, Gen 2, in Pokemon, there's a move called Future Sight. You familiar with Pokemon, Kevin? Not really, right?
I mean, I played the very, very first Generation 1 stuff, but nothing past that.
Yeah, so it was a psychic move, Future Sight, and it would say your Pokemon, blah, 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 Pokemon name, foresaw an attack. And then 3 turns later, they would take damage from the attack. And it didn't do a ton of damage, but it was just like absurd because it was a psychic idea. It was a psychic ability, and they foresaw an attack. But like, what was the attack? Because it's a Pokemon battle, it's a duel. So if you use your psychic powers to see that an attack was coming, that means something else had to initiate an attack. And that's like part of the premise of psychic attack. So it's weird, but it's just like because you're psychic, now you can attack the opponent by seeing attacks that never would have existed. Anyway, I bring this up because now that the whole firework factory or whatever the fuck it is exploding, now Dakota Johnson can use the future to know that a firework is about to hit her and then dodge the firework, then causing the firework to hit the bad guy, being almost like she's punching the bad guy with fireworks using her future vision. And so that's what's happening now. And she's punching it with fireworks, and she's running away because the whole movie, all they're doing is running away. And then they run to the top of the building and they run onto the sign. And then she uses the future to drop a sign on him somehow, basically just using firework punches. And then he gets hit by a letter. And it's like a different letter than was in her future vision. It's like an S in the vision, and then it's a P or something like that. I don't know. Or it's a P and then it's an S. I don't know. And so then he gets crushed by a sign, and then the movie's over. And then it turns out that the 3 girls, they didn't have anyone who cared for them, so they all started living with Dakota Johnson because us strays got to stick together. And they're like, hey, so you see the future. Do you ever see our future? And she's like, I see the future, and you guys are superheroes, and you're all strong and brave and independent women, and I'm there too. Oh, wait, I forgot, because she could be in more than one place at once. There's a point where she's fighting the bad guy on the rooftop, and she's just getting wrecked. And the girls are like, hey, well, we're 3 children. Probably we could help. And they just go, rah! And one of them goes and like tries to attack it, and she just punches him. He just punches her and like immediately puts her in peril. Like she's like hanging from a ledge. He punches her and she like falls off a ledge, And then the next girl is like, and she gets punched off a ledge. And the third one's like, and she gets punched off a ledge. So like within the space of like 40 seconds, like all 3 of the girls are now in mortal peril. And so Dakota Johnson is like, and she like projects like a psychic like hologram of herself that's connected to herself by this web visual effect, CGI effect. It's like this kind of energy cord, like this astral projection silvery cord that also connects events and stuff. When we're visualizing the future, sometimes you're seeing cords and stuff. And so now we're seeing the cord project a version of her over to help one of the girls off the ledge, and she projects another version of her helping another girl off the ledge and another one. And so now she's in 4 places at once, just like the fucking guy said she could be in more than one place at once. And she uses that power to save 3 children because she works at an ambulance and that's her job, is saving people. She's not a people puncher, she's a people saver. And so she saves everyone at the height of her powers, and then the bad guy comes up to her and punches her in the stomach. And she drops her powers, and then the girls, they're fine because she pulled them off the ledge, but she doesn't use her powers like that for the rest of the movie. But then in the end of the movie, we're seeing like the trailer of like a movie for like the 3 spider hero girl movie, and they're like running on rooftops and doing stuff and being cool. And then you're also seeing flashes of Dakota Johnson. Oh, also a firework hits Dakota Johnson in her eyes and blinds her. And also earlier in the movie, she teaches the girls how to do CPR, and they have to work together to do CPR because you get tired, and if you don't keep the rhythm, you die. And so they have to take turns giving her CPR. And Dakota Johnson, she gets hit in the eyes, go blind, she gets drowned and has to get CPR. And so they have to give her CPR using the CPR that she taught them. Full circle. And so she's doing the trailer, and she's like, I see you in the future being the superhero girls. And then she's also wearing a superhero costume, and she has these really stupid sunglasses and this big red lipstick and this like red leather jacket, and she's Madam Web, and she's paralyzed now, but she can project herself to be anywhere. So it's like the final hero shot of the 3 superhero girls. And also there's freaking Madam Web projected as a ghost held by the strand of her projection web, that she's doing a Force Ghost Luke Skywalker situation now. And that's the deal. And it implies that's going to happen in the future, even though, come on, they're not going to make that movie. There's no way they're going to make that movie. But it was really good. And people were saying the movie was bad, and it's not bad. It's good. It's just that it's a stupid idea to make a movie about Madam Web. And in general, it's a stupid idea to make an action movie about a character who isn't good at action, but rather can see the future and can see cool things happening in the future. That's just a stupid movie. And if you consider that that's a stupid movie, they did a really good job making it good. Whereas Morbius is a stupid, terrible, fucking garbage movie that sucks shit. And if you think about it, a movie that's, what if a guy was a vampire and fought against a guy who is a vampire who is his childhood friend, but he resented him? What if that was a movie? That's a decent premise for a movie. And Morbius was so bad. And Madam Web is such a bad idea for a movie. And it fucking kicks ass, and she hits the bad guy with a car twice. I think maybe 3 times. I don't know. But it's just fucking funny. It's great. It's an awesome movie. Everybody got to see it. I really am curious how it's going to do. I have to imagine it's going to do better than Morbius, but I don't know. But I mean, I did spoil the whole movie, but it's really good. You got to watch it. It's worth watching. And I mean, you could pirate it. I'm sure you could find it somewhere if you don't want to pay for it. But, it's cheap. Watch a matinee. It's good. It's really good. I thought it was really funny. Just so good.
All right, so there's so many things that you said that stand out to me as being absolutely just bonkers insane.
Sure.
But one of the things that really jumps out to me is the fact that they seem really inconsistent on whether the visions can be changed or not. Like, just like in the past, you were saying how she was like, no, I see that you're going to die in the subway and we need to prevent that. But then later they were like, hey, I saw that we were going to get out of this building okay. The explosions aren't going to hurt us. But like, that sort of implies that the visions are not changeable. But the earlier stuff, sort of says that it is. Does any of that make actual sense if you're watching the movie, or is it just all chaos?
Well, now that you mention it, the fact that the vision was different than the future, where she saw the P and then it was the S or whatever, that is actually internally consistent with the other visions being different than what we actually see happening in reality,
Okay.
So that actually, now that I think about it, is more internally consistent. But, I mean, the thing is, it's like the progression is in the beginning, she doesn't realize that she's seeing the future. And then she's like, I'm seeing the future, but it doesn't matter. And then, like when that guy dies, she convinces herself that there's nothing that she can do to change it. And then there's like a point where she has a vision of a a bird hitting her window and dying, and then she opens the window and the bird comes in and flies and doesn't die, and she's like, oh, I actually can change the future. So it is like, but that's what I mean. It's like they actually do all the groundwork. They like explain, like, again, it's like what they're doing sucks and is stupid. But given that, they did it really well. They did it pretty competently. Like they lay out like if anything, they kind of took too long explaining the future stuff. But they did it in a way that's very typical and formulaic of Hollywood. But it's just like at this point, it's like I've seen Groundhog's Day, I get it, you know. And so you're ahead of the audience, or you're ahead of the character. But that's typical anyway, you know.
So would you describe this as just like a amazingly good bad movie, or like you seem really torn? You know, you say you loved it, but then you spent 30 minutes saying all kinds of terrible things about the movie. I'm just really confused.
Well, the movie was good. I was talking about the movie. It was awesome. I was explaining it. I was so excited about it. I wanted to share.
Okay. All right. I'll take that.
I'm not sure. It definitely. That's the thing is, if you watch it, I don't think like what's a good. It's not The Room. The Room is bad. What's something that's better than The Room but is bad? There's got to be stuff like Cats. It's not Cats.
I mean, I would say that.
Yeah.
Sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say it's not Cats because Cats is bad, and this is good. Like, it's a movie that shouldn't be good and is fine. It's a movie that people want to suck, and so they say it's really bad when actually it's not even mediocre. It's like better than mediocre. I was going to say it's a kind of thing that's like, it's like, oh, it's blah, and people don't admit it's blah. They go, that sucked, because they're pissed that it was blah and not awesome, you know? And it's like, well, blah and sucks are very different, but blah is not good. You don't want that, but blah and sucks are different. And it's like, but it's not even blah. I think it's just good. It's just something that's stupid that somehow mostly works. And the ways that it don't work aren't that bad. Or I don't know. Maybe I'm just too easy on it. You know, I don't know. I'm pretty earnest. Like I'm pretty easy. Yeah, I have a giant magic card blanket, Charlie M. But yeah, I'm a pretty easy audience. I like most stuff that I watch, you know. But Morbius, I was being ironic about when I talked about it on the podcast, you know. Like, I mean, I'm sure I talked about the stuff that was bad in the movie, but that was like bad. And that was like bad in an entertaining way. It's like, this sucks so bad, but it's crazy. But this is good. Yeah, no, I think it's good. I think it's pretty good. Like, I certainly think if every Marvel film was at least as good as this, not Marvel, if every superhero film was at least as good as Madam Web, that would be fucking awesome. Like, it would be awesome. It was a lot of fun. It had fun people in it. You know, Adam Scott was good. Sydney Sweeney was good. Dakota Johnson was a miserable asshole. But that's what her character was. So, you know, I don't know. It was really weird. But again, like, you know, there's that movie or that interview. It went viral, and she was like, "Oh, the girls were having fun with it. They were having the time of their lives." And then there was me, and people were like, "Oh, what's the deal with this lady? Why is she talking shit about the movie?" Like, that was like a thing that caught the news or the social media cycle for a little bit. But like, then you watch the movie, and it's like, yeah, man, these girls are having fun. They're like dancing at a diner in a diner scene, and then Dakota Johnson is like talking to her cat about the story of Las Arañas, you know. And it's like, yeah, they're not even on set together a lot of times, you know. It's just like she's just alone the whole movie. Most of her scenes are alone. Like, she's with the girls too, but you know, there's a good chunk of the scenes where she's just alone doing stupid fucking nonsense because it's a bad idea for a movie. And it's like, yeah, this sucks. And it's just, as an actor, it would suck because it's like the shit people complain about the most in these movies. It's like CGI goop that's nonsense and is stupid and exposition-y. Like it's just Dakota Johnson in a cave reacting to a flashback of her past so she can understand the beginning of the movie or something. So we understand some sort of narrative thing. And it's like, none of this matters. None of it's real. It's all done in editing with CGI and stuff, And it's just Dakota Johnson crying over nothing, in a cave with Los Arañas. And another part of the movie is the Los Araña in the cave who's talking to her and revealing all the secrets. He's like, there's a you have a great responsibility. And when you accept that responsibility, you will attain great power. Which is, like an inverse of the Spider-Man, like, with great power comes great result. But it was just so hackneyed, and man, check it out. I do recommend it. I thought it was really fun, really funny. I thought it was the beginning is so bad and stupid, and then the rest of the movie isn't like that bad, and you're like, oh man, like I thought it was going to be a real train wreck, but actually it's like this is working. And also even at the reveal, which is stupid at the very end, I was like, hey, I like this. This is nice. And then at the very end, when they're all living together, I'm like, oh, they're living together and they're being friends. That's nice. It's just nice. Nice movies. Who doesn't like a nice movie?
It kind of reminds me the way you're describing it of the way I see The Fifth Element. Did you ever watch that movie?
Yeah, but it's been so long. It was like I must have been like 11.
Like, to me, that is probably the best badly written movie I've ever seen in my life. Like, I love that movie. It's one of my favorites, but like the plot makes no sense. It's just like tons of unnecessary exposition. Chris Tucker screaming. The protagonist played by Bruce Willis never meets the antagonist played by Gary Oldman. Like, they never even are on the screen at the same time ever in the entire movie. But at the same time, it's beautifully done. It's fun to watch, and I would watch it over and over again. That kind of sounds like what you're describing here a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, but that's the thing is like movies can be good and have things in them that are bad. Like, so I think Fifth Element is maybe an example of a movie that has like a lot of bullshit in it, but is still largely a very successful movie at like being like this fun sci-fi romp. It's like, so maybe it's just something like that. I don't know. Who knows, man? What's the chat saying? Is the chat saying anything cool?
Let me look here. Oh, they're all just posting Fifth Element quotes now and Chris Tucker images and stuff like that.
Great. No, I'm kidding. All right. Enough is enough. Alex writes, stop putting Jeff in the compilation episodes, please. It's very sad that you guys think the best bits of your show are the 3 episodes he's done.
Wow. Okay.
So I just want to say that Google gives you like prompts for auto responses, to like do quick like business responses to emails. And it gives you some of those sometimes. Instead of like clicking reply, you could just click the button and it'll like auto populate the reply. And Google has that for this email. So let's read the email again just to get in your head. Alex writes, stop putting Jeff in the compilation episodes, please. It's very sad that you guys think the best bits of your show are the 3 episodes he's done. And then the suggestions are, will do. Thanks for letting me know. Or, copy that. Or, will do. So,
that's your famous catchphrase, copy that.
Copy that. I mean, I like copy that, honestly. It seems a bit cool for me, but sometimes when you're on set and people are using walkies and stuff, you say stuff like that and it feels really awesome, but it also does seem like the right thing to say, so thanks for the email, Alex. This is on January 4th, so not that long ago. We're catching up, but so just for the listener, for the folks at home, when I do the best bits, I go to thathappenspod.com where you can see video episodes for free for limited time offer only. And you can also buy t-shirts. Check them out in the store website. If you can't find it, it's on you. That's on you. That's not our fault. What? Why do that? Okay, so I go to the website. I download the episode. I put it in a folder. I put it into a Premiere document. I listen to the Premiere file. I cut the clips. And then when I have enough, I finalize the episode. And I'm like, oh, that was about 30 minutes of clips. And if I don't get enough clips, I keep going through the episodes. So I've been going chronologically through since the beginning of the show to now. And the last one we put up, I think, was like one of the first Jeff-less episodes. It included clips from that, I think. Either that or I'm now starting to cut those. But it's not like I'm like, oh man, the show was so good only when Jeff was there and sucks now. It's like, no, I'm just going through and grabbing clips as I get them, you know. So it'll start getting, and honestly, there's some good bits. I feel like I remember having some good bits. So I'm honestly excited for the future of those clip shows because I think there'll be some of my famous bits. You know my famous bits. Man, I've been listening to that podcast, the SNL podcast with Dana and David, and yeah, they talk about cancel culture a lot. Did I say that? They complain about cancel. Everybody complains about cancel culture. I don't know. I guess I kind of get it if you're like I don't know. I'm not going to be canceled for this, but if you're a cop and everybody's like, defund the police, we hate cops, like you're definitely talking about that, you know? You go to work and you're like, man, you see this guy, he said that cops suck or something. You know, they're talking about it. It's relevant to what they're doing. You know, so I guess it kind of makes sense that like comedians are like, hey man, you hear about this guy who's whatever. It's like, wow, it's like that's something that's happening in my sphere. It's like maybe it's just something they're thinking about a lot. Like I don't think about it a lot because who cares? I don't want people to get mad at me. But I never want to make people to get mad at me. That's not something that's like changed because of cancel culture. You know, like I just don't want people to get mad at me. People are always mad at me. My parents were mad at me when I was a little child. They washed my mouth out with soap. You know, I don't like people being mad at me. Like it's not that complicated. But where the fuck was I going with this? Kind of started circling the drain like the soap from my mouth post punishment.
You were listening to the SNL podcast.
Yeah, they talk about cancel culture a lot. It's annoying. It's just annoying because it's boring. And it's just boring because they keep saying the same shit. Like, I'm sure if new developments happen in the cancel culture world and people are like, oh, did you hear about this? It's like, yeah, okay, sure, I'll listen to that. But if you're just saying the same things about the same things, it's like, yeah, I know you said that. It's like, come on. Like, come on. Let's do something else.
I mean, I guess for them, it probably is a little hitting close to home because, like, a lot of their early career is a lot of stuff that just you could not do today.
Right.
So I'm wondering if they're just looking back, kind of this is like, you know, what do I do with my life now? Because everything I did before, like, I hope no one listens to now.
Yeah, and they're old, you know, and so people, when you're old, you just have a different sensibility. But I think it's kind of both of that, you know. Like Dana Carvey, he talks a lot about how he can't do this impression of a Chinese store owner. And his impression is him trying to explain, like, the premise is like the guy sells chickens but doesn't want to sell chickens, so he's trying to talk customers out of buying chickens. And he's doing it in an offensive Chinese accent. And that's like the main reason it's funny. Like, it's not like the jokes about the chicken are amazing. And I feel like he probably on some level is like, yeah, if I did this with my normal voice, I don't think it would get a lot of laughs, you know? And so I think it was like, yeah, I'm sorry you can't do your chicken bit anymore. I don't think everyone's like, oh no, boycott Dana Carvey. He did the chicken impression, you know? But it's like, yeah, don't do the bit anymore. There's other bits. That's the thing. It's so weird about comedy. Like, 90% of the jokes a comedian has come up with, they don't do anymore. And they don't do them anymore because they feel that they can't do them anymore. And they feel that they can't do them anymore because it's old material. And they don't have any moral stance or righteous indignation about that. In fact, they generally are elitist about people who do reuse their old material. They go, you can't reuse your old material. What are you doing? That's stupid. That's crazy. So, like, what's functionally different? You just need new material. It's fine. It's not a big deal. You know, that's the thing. But it's all catastrophe. It's just you worry about the world falling down on your head, you know? But it's like, no one cares, man. Like, when people care, they're like trying really hard about something, you know. I don't know, but I think they've also been talking about Shane Gillis and stuff, who just hosted SNL, and you know, I don't know. It's hard. I don't know what the deal. Like, I don't know if he's actually a bad person or if he just fucked up really bad. Like, I don't care that much, but he seems like he's actually maybe not a good person. But people act like he's like, oh, just an innocent thing. But people say like, oh, just an innocent thing to everybody. They say that about Joe Rogan, you know? So it's like when you hear that, you're not like, oh, whew, false alarm. You're like, yeah, but you guys always say that, you know? So I don't fucking know. Everybody fucking stupid. Still a good podcast though.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
It's just funny, you know. I did a rant about how I don't fucking care about SNL, and then I started listening to a podcast that's very much about SNL, and is interesting, and doesn't really make me want to listen to SNL or watch SNL. Maybe I'd listen to SNL. That could be good. What if I download episodes of SNL and listen to them in the car like they're a podcast? What if we started releasing audio of the episodes of SNL as a podcast? That seems like a pretty good idea, actually, doesn't it?
I see no way that could go wrong for us. Let's pivot.
No, it's transformative. It's the definition of parody. Anyway, we're out of time. Wow. Well, I hope you liked me talking about Madam Web. You got anything, Kevin? I guess not, right? We just everybody go fuck yourself. We like to end the show the same way we do each week. So until next time. So one thing on the podcast that Dana does all the time is he explains that one time he had a joke character that it was a joke and he had a catchphrase, and the catchphrase was like as a joke. It wasn't like a serious catchphrase. And then he had a person who played his wife and she had a catchphrase. And his catchphrase, and so he says this all the fucking time, and it's like never funny, and he says it so many times, and it's like, who cares? Why do you feel the need to tell this to like everybody you fucking interview? Whatever. I love Dana Carvey. Don't get me wrong. But he goes, I played a character. He had a catchphrase. The catchphrase was, I got to go. And my wife had a catchphrase too, and her catchphrase was, and I'm going with him.